dear friends. The suffering of Jesus, which we recall in a special way today, has been a source of strength to countless people throughout history. Many of these people could never have endured their suffering without the knowledge that Jesus had suffered before them and was now supporting them in their hour of trial. As we look back over the suffering of Jesus, we see that he suffered in three different ways: mentally, physically, and spiritually. We know how much Jesus suffered mentally. Jesus experienced this agonizing kind of suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane. He sweated blood just thinking about the ordeal that lay before him. Jesus also suffered great mental anguish when his followers betrayed and deserted him. All of us can relate to this mental suffering of Jesus. We have all experienced it. For example, a 15-year-old runaway was described as suffering from this kind of mental anguish. He said in an interview in Parade magazine, "I never had a real family. I never saw my real father. I am always lonely. I feel like there must be something wrong with me. I must be bad. I feel like I don't exist because nobody ever loved me." In times of mental suffering, we can often take comfort in the knowledge that before us, Jesus suffered the same way, and he is now watching over us and supporting us in our hour of trial. The second way Jesus suffered was the extreme physical pain. He was brutally beaten, crowned with thorns, and nailed to a cross. Again, we can all relate to physical pain. We have all experienced it, some more than others. It was this kind of pain that Dr. Sheila Cassidy endured in Chile in the early 1970s. She was a medical doctor and made the fatal mistake of treating a wounded government protester. The police arrested her, tortured her, and tried to force her to name the people involved in the resistance movement. Stretched out on the rock, like Jesus on the cross, she endured physical pain for 4 days. Reflecting on the ordeal, she wrote, "I was experiencing in some slight way what Jesus suffered. All during the ordeal, I just felt that Jesus was there, and I asked him to help me hang on." Again, in times of physical suffering, often we can find great comfort in knowing that Jesus suffered the same way and is now supporting us in our hour of trial. Finally, Jesus suffered spiritually. How often have read or heard as Jesus hung helplessly on the cross. It seemed that even his father had deserted him. He prayed, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Again, we can all relate to spiritual suffering. There have been times when all of us have felt abandoned by God. It is the kind of suffering that an American priest, Walter Zizek, endured in Russia, where he was imprisoned for 23 years. On one occasion, he became so spiritually depressed that he was on the brink of total despair. But instead of giving up, he imitated Jesus on the cross and turned to God the Father in his hour of trial. He said, "I told God that my abilities were now bankrupt, and he was only my hope. I can only describe that experience as a sense of letting go." At that moment, as never before, Father Zizek understood the meaning of Jesus' last words on the cross. "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." That one decision, he said later, enabled him to carry on and to survive. Jesus suffered in all the three ways that a human being can suffer. He suffered mentally, enduring the pain of betrayal. He suffered physically, enduring the pain of torture. Finally, he suffered spiritually, enduring the pain of abandonment. Dear friends, today on this Passion Sunday, there is a message here for all of us. When we find ourselves suffering in mind, body, or spirit, we should turn to Jesus. He knows how we feel. He has experienced what we are experiencing, and he will not fail to strengthen us, give us courage, and help us to persevere. Amen.
Amen.